So like I said, I'm Esther Ikoro. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I was born in Nigeria, and I came to America when I was 3. And it's so like funny that you guys are talking about, you know, media and influence on environment, because actually a lot of things that I had to deal with when I first came to America was, you know, seeing that I speak standard English, and I ended up going to a predominantly, you know, black school when I first came to America. So I had a lot of, you know, social issues and fitting issues. So basically this is a poem about one of those experiences, and it's called Running. I was running from this 4'0", light-skinned, chubby-cheeked, evenly spaced-out, braid-wearing menace that stalked me. She was stocky, but her little legs pounded the pavement to my amazement, showing no signs of tiring, like she was an evil robot, driven by my fears of her catching me. And I fell squarely, the tip of my shoe barely losing friction from contact with a big twig. My chin hit, like the cement pavement sent the jolt through my stomach that vibrated in my arms and legs, but instead, the playground took souvenir pieces of skin to bake under blistering sun, and she had won, the last piece of pride, ripped from this flesh, underneath which she buried her never-ending interrogation of, why do you act white? Why do you talk white? You know you're black, right? This is where I began to realize that I am society's compromise, stuck somewhere between the bell curve's apex and Africa's demise. So I spent half of my arrested development developing Rubik's Cube personalities, trying to figure out which side of me to show next, and I switched color sticker squares and rotated all sense of self into what people expect, like painful contortions and funhouse distortions of what the mirror reflects, until the pieces of me fit so awkwardly, they became something that I don't even recognize. But as I look around, I see myself in the repressed tears of every social butterfly that begs the question, who am I? I'm the product, caught in a line of scars left by cookie-cutter shapes of acceptable conduct. I am standing still like stitches on the backbone of the United States mainstream forefront, just because to one group I'm too American and to the other I'm too African. The only piece in me seems to come from subject-verb agreement, and even then, self-righteous, self-conscious poets always want to tell me how I should grow, because you can't truly be African unless your hair is natural and you wear traditional clothes, but my tongue is split between 2 first languages and 2 homes. My speech is an articulated approximation of the tones of 2 distant places. Their faces fit together like puzzle pieces that make up this jigsaw state of being, a beautiful mosaic that crashes on the blacktop and crumbles. Yeah.
As Esther said, my name is Adam, and I just like to say that both of us were really honored to be here and be performing, and it was a really wonderful discussion that we just got to hear. And I think it's appropriate that young Chicago authors can have a relationship with this event, because it's an organization that brings together youth from all different backgrounds and all different ethnicities, and it's a forum for discussion on those issues. So on that note, this poem is called Maxwell Street. My dad once told me, when he was too little to see above a deli stand, his dad would take a quarter from that day's earnings and let him make his way through the stampede of brown-eyed Brownian motion that was Jewish Maxwell Street. He'd lift his arm to the invisible vendor, the quarter would transform into a hot dog, no ketchup. But now my dad's people are receding north as fast as his hairline. Maxwell Street became Rogers Park. Rogers Park became Devon, became Arthur, became North Shore, became the North Shore. And it seems to me that this is the way we Jews have always lived. Always leaving our homes, wandering the world as if through deserts, crossing from one place to another. In fact, even for all that Pesach prattle about the glory of freedom, Jews are still among those who would cross the street from a dark face, apparently honoring our ancestors who escaped from Africans by walking the length of a sea. And while my grandma struggled as an immigrant, I think she, at least, was free. A Jew who understood that in America, being Jewish is not as hard as being black. The two don't even compare. The Bible goes so far back that they don't even really have slavery in common, just Maxwell Street. But, Grandma, Even if I never called you Bubby, I want to write this poem in the spirit of remembrance. When I was on the Skowmore soccer team, I was the only Jew. The kids asked me if I picked pennies from the ground, teased me about going to hell. And I only wondered where all the Jews who were supposed to be in Skokie actually were. From Egypt to Israel, from Israel to Russia, from Russia to New York, to Maxwell Street, to Devon, to Skokie, to wherever the hair on my dad's head will go by the time he is buried in the soil from the Mount of Olives. I hope for these Hebrews who can't seem to stay in one place in Exodus only from the same mistakes. And Grandma, who never hated anyone unless they hated someone for no reason. You were Maxwell Street. Your heart a place that anyone could call home, where crossing the street meant saying hello, marhaba, or coming out to my Saturday soccer games, thereby keeping my Sabbath days holy. And all I wanted to ask you, before you died, was how I could find God as clearly as you did, so that I could be a prophet and bring your love to the chosen people, deemed such by their meeting your standard of having a heartbeat.